everyone, welcome back to a new upload. Today we are doing a full review and wear test on Hourglass's Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. As you can see, I have my full face of makeup on, ready to go for this wear test. The kicker for today's video is that the foundation is not the only Hourglass product that you'll see me wearing today. I've paired their foundation up with their Vanish Airbrush Primer, with their Veil Loose Setting Powder, and of course, I couldn't film this video without this right here. This is the Ambient Limited Edition Face Palette. Now that I gave you the rundown for today's video, let's hop into the review and wear test. It is time to finally get this face all done up with Hourglass products. And as you already know, this is the Hourglass Ambient Foundation that came out just recently. I've only used this foundation 2 other times before filming this video, and it wasn't really for a full day. So today we are really going to do an in-depth review of how this foundation applies, how it wears throughout the day, or in my case, the evening, because it is evening hours here. And I will give you my final thoughts about this foundation at the end of this video. Alrighty, we are going to start with a primer. So I have this Hourglass Vanish Primer right here. I love this primer. I have used this quite a few times already by this point. So I'm gonna apply that right now. I figured if we're gonna do an in-depth review of Hourglass foundation, why not try to use my other Hourglass products that I have on hand to really give this foundation a true review. Primer is on, let's get right into the foundation. This is the shade Ambient 6. Now, if you watched one of my recent uploads, I spoke about this foundation, and I do still think I need to get a half shade lighter for myself. So if it looks like it doesn't perfectly match, we'll make it work, right? So I put 1 full pump on my little blender sponge here. So I'm gonna start spreading this around. I don't like to go on super thick with my foundations, no matter what foundation it is. I wouldn't say this foundation is anywhere near light coverage. It's definitely medium. You can build it up to full. And if you like lighter coverage, what I like to do is by using the sponge and just a minimal amount of product, just thin it out a little bit and sheer it out to the amount of coverage you want. This foundation goes on very smoothly. I don't have to fuss with it really at all. You just have to be careful, like any foundation, to blend it out nice. And that pretty much, that 1 pump on that damp sponge covered this whole half of my face. I still have to do my forehead, and it even covered my chin and part of this jawline. So a little amount really does go quite a long way with this foundation. So I just did almost another full pump on the sponge now. I'm gonna spread this out just like I did the other side and get this on my forehead. Okay, as you can see on camera, this is what I was talking about. The shade itself is not a great shade for me. I need at least a half a shade lighter, but the foundation itself, I love the way it applies. It gives you a nice, soft, focused look on your skin. It went on very smooth. I don't see it like being super cakey around any of my pores or any fine lines, and it blends just really easily. I really love the finish of this foundation, and I love the coverage because it really can be manipulated any which way you want. Goes on pretty much medium, but you can thin it out or you can build it up. Okay, now that we are done with the blending of the foundation, let's hop into the Hourglass concealer. Okay, got my Hourglass concealer here. This is in the shade Fawn, and I'm just gonna use a very minimal amount. I usually always do. I put some on my nose. I'm gonna put some by the darkness in the corner here of my eyes. And I like to add a little bit on the top of my cheekbones, and then I'm gonna blend that out. And then I add a little bit on my forehead and a little on my chin. All right, let's blend this concealer on out on top of the foundation. Okay, so all of that concealer blended super easily on the face. It really seemed to make a seamless blend between the foundation and the concealer. Okay, moving along, I almost forgot that I had this in my makeup kit. So this is the Hourglass Veil Setting Powder. It is a loose setting powder. I'm going to take this and set the areas of my T-zone, and then we will move on to the Hourglass Ambient palette and set the rest of my face with that palette. Now the thing with me is I don't let a little bit of oil on my face scare me. I know there are people that love a full matte face, which I totally understand. I think that looks beautiful on so many people, but I've given up on trying to fight the oils on my face. I just keep my skin healthy. I use good skincare products, and if I have a little oil come through my makeup, that's okay. I love to just blot it with a tissue or blotting paper, and then I'm good to go. So I'm not too worried about that. We'll see how everything wears together. Maybe I won't get that oily after a few hours. We shall see. Let's jump into this beautiful ambient face palette. Now, this is the elephant version. There are 3 versions of this limited edition palette. This is the one that everyone seems to be going crazy over, that I've been seeing online. It has beautiful colors in here. There's 2 blush shades, there's a bronzer, and there's more than 1 setting powder, and there is a highlight. Now, I call these setting powders, but they call them finishing powders, so I guess I probably should call it a finishing powder. And I'm going to dip into their soft light finishing powder, and I'm gonna go over some of that loose setting powder that already set my foundation. And this is just gonna give a little bit of glow, a little bit of luminosity back into my skin. My under eyes look fairly smooth. It's not that they're creasing, it's just with the powder, the way I set the concealer, I can see like one minor little line of where my skin folds, you know, when I smile, when I push up my cheeks. The rest of the face looks super smooth. It's not emphasizing any lines in my face. It's looking super good so far. All I have left to put on is mascara and my eyebrows, and I will be right back. Okay, ladies and gents, it is 7:48 my time, so we are just barely into the wear test, so there really isn't much updates to give at this moment. But I have my coat on, I'm ready to go about my business for the rest of the evening. We are actually headed to Target soon to go check out a new Christmas tree for our apartment. So we have that going on. Then when we get back, we're probably gonna watch a show. I have to do some packing to head to Chicago to go visit my family for Thanksgiving. So we got quite a bit of things going on tonight. So I'm gonna take you along for the ride. Let's see how this lovely base and foundation wears throughout the evening, and I'll see you soon. Headed into Target, and I'll look for some Christmas trees. All right, 6 hours and a Big Mac later, we are back to talk about my final thoughts on the Hourglass Ambient Foundation. I am way more oily than I was at the beginning of this video. It's not the foundation, it's my skin. I have an oily T-zone. I don't use any oil absorbing or oil control products to control it. What I like to do is I just blot my face. If I feel like I'm looking super oily, I blot it and get on with my day. And then typically a good foundation after you blot it will still look super nice. The things that I personally look for in a foundation is the way it applies. I wanna make sure it applies smoothly. I wanna make sure it's a no fuss type of foundation. The other thing I look for is I don't want anything that's gonna look like a mask on my face. I don't want anything heavy, cakey. I don't want something that's really gonna settle into my pores and make my pores look huge. And this foundation, I will tell you, yes, I am oily, but wow, it still is there. It has not broken up on my skin. It went on super nice. It definitely has that blurring / glowy look that I'm sure so many of you love. So the last and final test we will do before I leave you tonight is we're going to blot it. So we're gonna see how much foundation comes off using a blotting sheet. And I also have just a standard, just little tissue here. And then we'll see what we're left with. Okay, so I still have some glowiness on my cheeks. Now that is actually the blush that I put on. The little blotting linen definitely took the shine away. Obviously a little foundation will come off on this blotting sheet, but this is just oil. I don't want to keep showing it to you because that's kind of gross, but everything still seems really nice. It's still smooth. It's not patchy. Okay, so let's take the tissue and blot this side of the face. Okay, so this side I just blotted with a tissue, and this side I blotted with a blotting linen, and both sides they look the same. I'm happy with this foundation. I think a lot of you will enjoy it, whether you have oily skin or dry skin. If you have not tried out this foundation, I'm giving it 2 thumbs up. I think you should try it out. Let me know if you do try this foundation. Leave me a comment down below. If you liked this type of content and this type of video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will catch you in next week's upload. Bye.